Now, in order to make this next story clear to you, I'm going to draw a map. I'm not the world's best artist, but I want you guys to know that this is about as detailed as I can make it in a quick moment. So I'm not going to include any of the islands. I'm not going to get into all that Taiwan stuff or the 7-dash line. But what I want to show you here is a very simple, basic map of mainland China. Very large, gargantuan. And I want to show you two key details. There's no test. We're all going to make it through. The first one I've got here, I want you to imagine you got this river that goes all the way across China. It's the Yangtze River. It's one of the largest rivers in the world. It's one of those origins of civilization, the same way the Indus, the Ganges, and the Nile are other origins of civilization. And I want to show you one other tiny river, and that's the Pearl. The Pearl goes through South China. It's beautiful. And if you don't remember those names, that's all right. You'll still pass my class, everyone did. But what I want to tell you is that China, strangely enough, was not interested in having someone dump drugs all through their country. So while the British saw themselves bringing opium in and called themselves businessmen, the same way Colombians might think of themselves as businessmen shipping coca leaves, the Chinese looked at the British and called them drug smugglers. They called them gangsters. They called them criminals. But China didn't have a souped up DEA with counter-surveillance methodology. They had old muskets, but they tried to do what any drug interdiction force might do. They went down right here at the mouth of the Pearl River where the gangsters were bringing in their product. They arrested some of them, impounded the product, and tried to put them on trial. And the world's biggest drug dealer, who was not Al Capone, but sweet little old Queen Victoria, she said, "You all have effed up seriously." And she declares the first Opium War. She sends her troops mortar bombing their way up the coast. They rain fire on China's cities. They actually capture the national tax shipments that are headed for Beijing. And when the smoke stops, and when the bodies have stopped bleeding, they make China sign a treaty and give them a place that maybe you've heard of. They put it right in the mouth of this little river, and it's called Hong Kong. Hong Kong did not exist until Britain needed a place to ship in their drugs. And so now this is British territory all the way up until 1999. So dope is legal right here. The rest of the country, drugs are still a crime. But it's a whole lot easier when you can get right up on the shore. So Britain keeps bringing it in, disappears, no one knows how it keeps getting into the countryside. And the countryside is starting to look a little bit like my hometown outside of Pittsburgh, where the billboards are changing from McDonald's signs to "you need help with drugs and addiction" signs, "have you lost family to fentanyl" signs, and the bodies are stacking up in the morgues. So China tries to take their country back. And one more time they send under-equipped troops out to arrest some of the criminals, take the product, and have a trial. Sweet little Queen Victoria says, "You guys did not learn your lesson." And this time, everybody wants in on the action. So Russia jumps in, and France jumps in, and even the United States is like, let's get in on the action. And when the bombing is stopped, and when the smoke clears, they get a new city, this time not in the mouth of the Pearl, but right in the mouth of the Yangtze, which runs all the way across China. This city is Shanghai. And so now they can bring in dope legally. The emperor doesn't just say you can have these cities, he also says he's going to legalize drugs. And so now they don't need to sneak it in on small boats under cover of night. Now the Brits can bring it in on the biggest steamships they're able to invent. They're able to use a telegraph to bring the price over from India ahead of time. And they can use the Pearl River and the Yangtze River like two arteries to pump dope deep into China. The Chinese state will spend the next 20 years collapsing into 4 separate civil wars, each of which is an order of magnitude more violent than one United States. 25 million people are killed in China as the country collapses into drug violence. Another 25 years go by before the empire collapses. And what this means is a whole lot of money. And the Brits need a bank to carry all that money. And they name it for these two new cities, Hong Kong and Shanghai. And many of you may have heard of this bank, HSBC, the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Company. Because this was recently in the news around 2010 for taking money from drug dealers. No surprise. It's what they were built on. And so that's why when I tell people that there were 2 Opium Wars and then 3 and 4 were the French and the US and Vietnam, but the 5th is already here. And that, I think, is the basis of a new kind of fear, the war on terror, the war in Afghanistan. Thank you.